Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the incredible true story of a 1971 hijacking that turned into one of America's all-time greatest unsolved mysteries. We're talking one man, a commercial plane, $200,000, and a literal leap into the pitch-black night that sparked an absolute legend. Let's get right into it. So, it all started with a chillingly polite threat that just completely shattered an otherwise mundane flight from Portland to Seattle. At first, the flight attendant actually thought this quiet passenger was just slipping her his phone number. But then, he uttered these exact words. "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." That single sentence kicked off a chain of events that investigators are literally still puzzling over more than 50 years later. Section 1. A quiet man boards. The unassuming start to a historic crime. The whole story kicks off on November 24th, 1971. This really quiet man, dressed in a sharp, dark business suit and black tie, buys a one-way ticket under the name Dan Cooper. He didn't shout, he didn't cause a scene. When the flight attendant sat down next to him, he just calmly snapped open a briefcase, revealing a mess of wires and red objects, proving right then and there he was deadly serious, he was taking full control of the plane. Section 2. The Seattle Ransom Exchange. Preparing for the unthinkable. While midair, Cooper laid out his demands to the authorities, and at the very top of his list, $200,000 in $20 bills. Now, sure, that's a lot of cash today, but in 1971, it was an absolute fortune, and he wanted it ready the exact second they touched down in Seattle. But the money wasn't even his most brilliant demand. He also asked for 4 parachutes. So why 4 instead of just 1? Well, it was actually a masterful psychological move. By asking for 4, he made the FBI and airline officials terrified that he was going to force hostages to jump with him. This absolutely guaranteed they would provide fully functional gear instead of sabotaged chutes. The guy had thought of everything. Okay, so after landing in Seattle, securing the ransom, and letting the 36 passengers go, Cooper keeps a few crew members on board. Once they refuel, he issues these highly specific, really technical flight instructions. He tells them to head south toward Mexico City or Reno, maintain a low altitude, fly at a slower speed, and keep the landing gear down. I mean, these were not the demands of an amateur. They proved he knew exactly how this aircraft operated. The crew had zero idea what was coming next. Section 3. Leaping into the night. A daring escape into the freezing darkness. All right, picture this. It's 7:40 p.m. and the Boeing 727 takes off again, flying straight into a dark, freezing rainstorm over the Pacific Northwest. Alone in the cabin, Cooper ties the heavy ransom bag to himself using parachute cord. Shortly after that, the crew realizes the plane's rear staircase has been opened. And then, moments later, a warning light flashes in the cockpit. Somewhere in that pitch-black sky between Seattle and Reno, Cooper leaped out into the void, and literally no one saw him land. Section 4. The Norjack Investigation. The massive hunt for a ghost. So when the plane finally landed safely, the hijacker was just entirely gone. The FBI immediately launched a massive operation dubbed Norjack, which is short for Northwest Hijacking. They scoured thick forests, rugged mountains, deep rivers, just desperate to find a single trace of the man who jumped. The sheer scale of this search was totally unprecedented. Over the years, they investigated more than 800 suspects. They questioned hundreds of people. And the result? Absolutely nothing. Not a single person was ever proven to be Cooper. And the evidence he left behind became a source of massive frustration for the investigators. Inside the aircraft, they found his black tie and a few other mundane items. But look at what he took with him. The handwritten bomb note, the $200,000, and most importantly, his identity. To this day, the guy's real name remains a total mystery. Section 5. The mystery deepens. A discovery years later. For 9 long years, the trail was completely cold. Nothing. Then, in 1980, a young boy makes a shocking discovery buried in the sand near the Columbia River. It was a decaying bundle of $20 bills totaling $5,800. And when the FBI ran the serial numbers, it was a perfect match. It was Cooper's ransom money. But rather than actually solving the case, this discovery only spawned a ton of new questions. How on earth did a fraction of the money end up buried by a river? Did he lose it during the chaotic freezing jump? Did it somehow wash downstream over the years, or was it planted there much later? The rest of the cash was never recovered. and Cooper remained a ghost. Section 6. Did D.B. Cooper survive? The enduring legend of an unknown man. This case kept the FBI actively searching all the way until 2016, leaving us with two completely valid yet wildly different possibilities. On one hand, you've got many experts who firmly believe he died in the jump. I mean, think about it. He leaped into freezing weather over a rugged forest at night wearing only a business suit and loafers. He had an unsteerable parachute and zero survival gear. It sounds like a suicide mission. But the other side argues he escaped. He might have known the local terrain perfectly. He could have easily had an accomplice waiting down below. After all, the entire operation leading up to the jump was meticulously planned out. Because no new credible evidence has ever surfaced, the whole case just remains an open question. His real name and his ultimate fate are entirely unknown. One man, one passenger plane, $200,000, and a total disappearance that birthed an American legend. So now that you've seen all the facts, you're the jury here. What do you think actually happened to D.B. Cooper? Did he die in that freezing forest? Or did he pull off a brilliant escape and live out his days under a totally new identity? It's a fascinating puzzle for sure. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes open for the amazing mysteries hidden in history.